Phenomenal African Women UK. Ready to be inspired, celebrated, and empowered? Hey, it's the Afrodia Empower podcast, where we share our real and relatable experiences as young Black women connected to the African diaspora. Invite some friends and join the conversation with your hosts, Shernorva, Emmanuella, and Blessings.
Hey everyone, welcome to Afrodia Empower podcast. So it's Blessings here speaking today. I hope you're all doing well. Hope you're doing fine. What's good? What's poppin'? Tell me. And I am joined by two lovely ladies here today, Shernorva Abiona.
Hey people, hi.
And Emmanuella Boateng.
Hi guys.
Yeah, so hey everyone. And today we are going to be talking and reflecting on what we've learned in 2020. So yeah, would like to get started.
It's been a year.
It's been
a year. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. It's been a year. I feel like I've never been home as much, even though I work from home. I think I've never seen my family this much as well. But in that way, it's been beautiful. If you don't know what's happened this year, I'm surprised. I'm surprised. I don't know if we can legally say the full word, but it's been the C9 this year. It's been the C9.
Word. The C9.
C19, sorry. C9.
Yeah. How did you find the year? Like, before we kind of like reflect on what we learned, I guess, how did COVID, how did it affect you?
I think for me, it was, in the beginning, I was like, okay, come on, productivity. With just everything I've ever wanted to do is going to come out in this moment. And I had like moments of just boom, like working, and then have moments of just crash. And then I think at times I felt bad for myself because I was then like, oh my gosh, you're not doing. There's only one time in your life where you'll ever get this time just like this.
I'm tired.
Everyone is together. Yeah, exactly. And then I was just like, I have to be kind to myself, enjoy myself. I started doing some coloring. I started watching more TV, but I also balanced that with working. And once I've been like able to, the balance doesn't always, that sometimes you find a balance and then after a little while you just get bored of it, so you have to find another balance. But I found like a way that worked for me where I was able to work and still enjoy work, but also take time out to go and do other things and actually even enjoy doing a bit of house chores. Can you imagine me saying enjoying doing house chores?
You're very brave.
Really?
Let's just say that.
But it was all part of the balance of like making sure life was still going and I still felt comfortable. And I think also working around everyone else's schedules is definitely something that I've had to learn, because we're all working here right now at home. We are all working. Dad's been working, mum's been working, I've been working, girls have been working. Really finding a way to work around everyone's schedules. But you guys go. How's it been for you?
Honestly, for me, I wouldn't say I particularly enjoyed the lockdown. Do you know what? I've always been that person, like, I want to be homeschooled. Like, I used to be like, I'd get so much work done. I'd be so much more productive. Like I just feel like I'm wasting away at school. I don't know why I said all this. Like, so I love going to school. I love it. But I just wanted to be on my own sometimes and just study, especially if I felt like I was behind. You just want to be on your own and be homeschooled. That's what was in my head, at least. So we hit the lockdown. I was like, no, this isn't for me. Not at all. This is not life. That's what I just didn't enjoy it, because everybody was at home and like one person will be on one call and then this, and like you don't want to like interrupt another person. I just kind of didn't like that whole like online life, but we're all living together. It just kind of felt uncomfortable. And I guess what also contributed to me feeling uncomfortable was the fact that I wasn't finding a way to, like we mentioned in the last podcast, of finding ways to rest. I was just working, because if anyone doesn't know, I was in year 12 at the time. So we were trying to get our predicted grades good and everything. So I was just putting myself under way too much pressure to get things done, that I wasn't actually taking a break. And I remember I reached a point in like around May time. So this is like 2 months after we've been in lockdown. And I literally just burnt out. Like I literally couldn't do work, nothing. It was just like, whoa, you need to take a break. And luckily it was half term then. So I took that break, recollected myself, and I started to get back on track. I set up a LinkedIn account, made new connections, joined all these Zoom calls. Yes. So like, even if you haven't done all of that yet, all the things you wanted to do, it's never too late to start. And by the way, you don't actually have to come out with a new skill out of lockdown. It's not by force. It's not for everybody. So I was just going to say that would be my experience. Yeah.
But can I just quickly jump in? Even with what Blessings was saying, like, it doesn't have to be something completely new, but actually when you look back and look over, you realize that you have learned new things about yourself.
Oh, that's true.
And about the way you work and stuff. So even though it doesn't have to be like, oh my gosh, I learned how to knit, for example. If your goal was to learn how to do something new, then obviously you want to come out learning something new if you can. But sometimes it is a skill. Sometimes it is something that you just learned about yourself over this period. I believe that everyone would have learned something about themselves over this period.
100%.
Yeah, you guys mentioned some really key things that I saw during my lockdown or like this year. I think for me, like being in a new city for university, you just like got used to the people around you, you just started a new routine. Like I was really excited to spend summer here at Bristol, and then like in a couple of months just getting around, getting used to the people that I was around, and then everyone's gone home. And it's just like that massive change, that drastic change to going back home, from being quite independent at uni, having your own thing going, and then going home and living with 4 other people. I mean, family members, sorry. Yeah, it was definitely different. And similar to what Blessings was saying, about new skills. I don't know if you guys went through that Chloe Ting phase when everyone was working out and everyone,
That was
So
me.
just like, yeah, I tried day one and I was over it. By day one, I couldn't get up off the floor. So that was not for me, but it was just like, it was quite intense because it was all about, oh, I don't know if you guys saw that quote. I was like, oh, if you didn't do anything during this lockdown, you lack discipline. Da, da, da. And I got scared. I was like, okay, I need to start something and do something new. And, I mean, it's all great. Lockdown was such a great time for people to focus on themselves. But I feel like there was such a pressure to, leave lockdown and say, I accomplished this. I started a business. Da, da, da. It's not the same story for everyone. What else? Yes, 2020 has really been a different year for all of us.
Yeah.
So different, so new. I feel like as a generation we've had to accustom to so many things and so many changes with our government and like schools, and things that we thought that was stable, like government, school, education, going out, like things that we were quite accustomed to. So it's just very weird to see everything change.
Yeah. And I think as well, I think because everyone was at home, it became this eye-opening moment for a lot of people. So instead of like life just moving and stuff, for example, even recently with like the End SARS movement, where people from all over the world are now talking about the brutality that has been going on in Nigeria for years, but also has really been highlighted because of what happened with the Lekki massacre and with the government over there. Like, really, before, people might have, oh, you heard a word here, but because people have been at home, these things have been highlighted in your face. Like watching George Floyd, watching that video, it destroys you. Like you sit there like, okay, it doesn't matter what race you're from, this is not right. And things that people have been
100%.
speaking about before and trying to highlight before and trying to lobby for before, it was now in front of everyone's eyes on such a big scale.
Wow.
And people were talking about it in such a big scale as well, because let's be honest, what else was there to do? You weren't going to go out and live your life and like forget about it in 5 seconds. You're going to wake up the next morning, it was still going to be there and still going to be a part of the narrative of our everyday lives. So I do believe that 2020 has also been very eye-opening for people to understand the struggles of others. Like, it's not just lip service. You're not just saying, oh, this has happened, this has been happening in our community as black people as well. This has been happening as in our community. People could now see it. People could now see it from the US. People were now hearing the stories of actually what happened growing up in the UK, for people as well. So yeah.
Yeah, just on the back of that, you're talking about, like, we've been able to look what's going on around the world, but also look within ourselves. And I don't know, I used the word introspection in the last podcast. This is from psychology. So if anyone does psychology A level, you know what I'm talking about. But it's this idea of looking within ourselves. And I've been able to I feel like just being naturally in my room a lot and on my own, it's just kind of forced me to actually think, okay, like, wow, like there's some things that maybe we need to address, that I need to talk about to myself and like address, and my insecurities as well. So I think it's definitely been a time of reflection, a time of pruning for me as well, and realizing like areas that I can develop myself, because I've been able to look into myself more. So that's what I would say.
Yeah. 100% agree. And I think with what Blessings was saying as well, in terms of looking to ourselves, it's so important to take stock of our mental and our physical health as well.
Wow.
Looking after ourselves, eating well, not in a obsessive way, but like, for example, at some point during this year, I realized I cannot eat lots of different types of meat in one day because my stomach goes absolutely mad. And it's not even like I'm not a vegetarian or a vegan or anything like that, but for some reason, like, we ordered some food, and like just having the different types of meat, like I felt constipated the next day. I know this is TMI, but I felt so
It's the
constipated.
truth there.
Yeah, like my stomach felt so heavy. Like I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I can't do this. And then I had to drink loads of water to be able to like just let everything loose.
Loose. We think the same. Oh my days.
In terms of physical health, it just made me realize, do you know what? I can't eat loads and loads of carbs, and I can't eat loads and loads of meat in one go. Um I need to like space things out a bit. So I've just been a lot more careful with like when I'm cooking at home, making sure there's veg and there's fruit and stuff, just making sure that it's not just me but also my family as well, but in a fun way. Like it should be fun, it should be nice to be able to go in and get a piece of mango, get a piece of, I don't know, cucumber, or have it on your plate. No one's forcing you to eat Brussels sprouts if you don't like Brussels sprouts. But if you like them, eat
I
some of
love them.
those little green men, eat them. So
What are the green men? Let me know.
the Brussels sprouts. The
Oh,
Brussels sprouts.
they're so cool, but okay.
The little green footballs, maybe. Yeah. But definitely when it came to physical health and even checking in on people as well, with
So
mental
true.
health. How are
Yeah.
you? No, how are you
Oh, I
really?
thought you were asking me. I
Yeah.
was like, girl, I'm good.
And sometimes actually you realize that a text message isn't enough. If you can't call, send a voice note, because people can hear the
Yeah.
emotion in your voice when you're asking how are you versus a text message.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting you
Just so,
mentioned that. Because literally
yeah.
2 days ago, I asked someone, how are you? But I just put a text, and guess they just responded, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Mm,
Like, whereas if I
mm,
said, oh, I haven't spoken to you with a voice note, haven't spoken to you in a
mm,
long time, like, how you doing? Da, 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 da. I think it would have gotten a much
Mm.
more nicer response. But yeah, that's a good
mm.
point.
But then some of that you might have been reading into it because they might have actually been fine, but we don't know with text message. Like unless someone
Yeah.
riddles the thing with emojis, and even then they might be lying.
Oh, definitely.
Mm.
Like if
Definitely.
you can't see someone or hear someone's voice, you can't actually have a good idea of what's going on. But sorry, Emmanuel, I feel like I've been taking your time.
Oh no. I think
Jumping.
to support your point on health, I was gonna focus on mental health.
Mm,
As you're speaking, I just feel like 2020 has not been the most optimistic or positive year. There's been a lot of trauma,
yeah.
and especially being on social media, you're just exposed to so many things. I feel like everything was just being put under a magnifying glass. Um, and yeah, like there was just so many deaths. Unfortunately, there was so much like bad news, and it just felt like month after month there was something new, and we kind of become desensitized to it so much. So learning to take breaks, like you said, really checking in with yourself and seeing, is this an unhealthy consumption of social media, or do you know what I mean? It was just,
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like 2020 was just a lot, and it's still, yeah, a lot, and just taking breaks, and checking in with yourself and each other,
Yes.
yeah, has been a very valuable lesson to me. Yeah.
Yeah, that is so, so true. Like with the whole social media thing of like, you know, you see these things pop up every day. I felt like,
Mm,
and I don't know if this is just me, but I felt like there was a lot of false empathy on social media. And what
mm,
I mean by that is I felt like there was this pressure, especially with the whole Black Lives Matter movement. There was a
mm,
pressure to show that I'm not racist, especially like, and
Mm.
we were, so I felt like a lot of Black people were putting this pressure out there, like saying,
mm,
like you'd see on people's like Instagram story, now I know all the people like who aren't racist because they're all
Yes.
my, like stuff like that. And it's like you're putting
yeah.
pressure on somebody when maybe they aren't racist, but they're not, they don't post on
Mm.
Instagram, so they feel comfortable. That, do you get what I mean? But sometimes
Mm.
we put pressure on people to like, I guess, conform with everybody else, and it creates this thing of false empathy. And like I've heard this word, but false solidarity, where we're like, oh, we're
Mm,
standing together, but the truth is you're really not. You're
mm,
just trying to like, you're just trying to like follow what's going on and keep it with the trend, I guess. And I
yeah. And I
think it was
think,
really bad.
yeah, it's a bit naive to assume that when there's something going on, everyone's immediate response is to go on social media and speak about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
For some
Right.
people, it's within the family home. We'll talk about race, we'll talk about what's going on. But to actually, for me, I never posted anything about BLM on my social media because that's just not how I deal with things. But
Mm.
I'm sure I felt the pressure, especially when speaking to my friends who weren't black. They would ask me questions, or they'd be like, "Oh, like, what did you feel about this? Did you feel the need to post?" And I feel like I did feel the pressure to post, but it's just not how I would respond to things like
Yeah.
speaking to you guys or speaking to my friends, or maybe on WhatsApp groups, or like just a normal conversation would, I feel, would be a better solution for me.
Yeah.
um but yeah, yeah, I definitely understand what Blessings is talking about, false solidarity and empathy. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you both, because I think for me the only thing that I think I posted like a list of movies that people could watch to help them like get more educated on black history, and but also the narrative and things that were going on. I think I posted something else about um it was a video that I watched about systemic racism, but it was
That was a
explaining
good
it in
video.
such, it had like visuals and stuff. It explained it in such a
Brilliant.
clear way about how this becomes a generational thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a clear way of understanding it. And I remember sharing it. And I didn't share as much over that time, but I know what you mean about you feel pressure to be like to put up like long conversations you had with people and screenshot it and put it up. Then I remember there was this one YouTuber who I watched, and she hadn't been on for like a month or so, and she said actually I took that time to educate myself, but also to get some of my followers to come on and have video calls where we actually discuss this. And then she showed like some screenshots and stuff, and she was like, that was my way of being able to educate myself, and then now more informed I can tell you guys where to help out and stuff. Like I didn't want to just say
That's
donate to this
good.
place when I don't know where that money's going. Like if I'm
Mm,
being honest, I don't know where the money's going. I don't know much about the organization, and I personally didn't go and research as well to be able to tell you go and give here because it's going to
Mm,
come to here.
you know
But
what?
yeah,
Oh,
it
sorry. Wait.
no,
You
I was
jump
gonna
in
say
there.
it, but to a certain extent it did become a toxic cycle, because then I was watching videos of people who were against the movement and what they were saying, and I was like, oh my gosh,
Mm,
this
mm,
seems a little bit. And then I was like, why am I watching this? I'm never gonna agree with them. In terms of, when I say against the movement, I mean like so outwardly on the other side that it
oh,
was
okay. Yeah.
just, yeah, like we would never agree because my experience is very different to yours. But like what did that achieve for me? Just made me feel a bit like, and then I was like, this is just so toxic. Let me just go and find something to
mm,
watch,
Really?
please.
Oh, that is
yeah,
so, so true.
yeah, yeah. 2020 is just, it's just, I think it's a learning process for all of us. We can definitely take a lesson, at least one lesson from 2020. I know there's so many memes and so many things on Twitter that's like, oh, imagine if 2020 never ends and ha 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 ha. Like we speak about it. Have you not seen it? It's like, have you guys not seen the meme?
I'm sorry, it was the way you said ha 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 ha. You're like, ha, 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 ha.
There's a meme and it's like, oh, we get to 31st of December and it goes from 11:59 to 11:60, as in like the time just continues. It never actually goes to 12 o'clock. Have you guys not seen it? Do you know what I mean? It's just,
you have to send this to me after.
read. I need to send it to you, but
Yes.
yeah. 2020, I think it just makes us more excited for 2021. It gives us a lot more time to prepare. Yeah.
I agree. And I think, I mean, we don't want this to be like, oh my gosh, this is just rehashing everything. But actually, it's important to look back and see the things that went well, things that you're like, it didn't go so well for me, but also your role in that as well, and in the conversations that happened this year, and how you were feeling as well. And I think just generally when we look at life, it's so important to know when to say no to things and to know when to say yes. Like I've definitely over the last couple of years been very intentional about what I say yes to and what I say no to, because my time is precious. And as I think it's my mum who says it to me, but she's like, if you do not plan for yourself, other people will plan your time for you. And I literally live by that. I'm like, look, but people respect you as well. If you tell them, actually, I can't because I'm blocked out from this time to this time or this time to that time, then people will be like, okay, let's work around your schedule. Let's see what we can do. If you're just free every moment, every time, what are you doing? You have to even look at yourself and be like, what am I doing? I'm free all the time. Or I'm doing so much for everyone else that I'm not getting to do the things that I want to myself.
So true.
If you have blocked out time to go and, I don't know, watch TV, then say, no, I'm not available. I mean, if you've been watching TV all day, that's a bit different. Okay. You can be available for a little bit. But if you genuinely, you've had a busy day, you've been working, someone asks, unless it's like life or death or something really, really serious, someone asks, oh, can we come and do da 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 da? If you know that's something that can be pushed back a little bit and you don't feel like I have to do it now, then say like, no, I can't do it right now. I'm busy. And if people ask why are you busy, you'll be like, I've got an appointment. You have an appointment with yourself. Come on.
Honest. Wow. It's your facial expressions for me.
Yes. You have an appointment with yourself. You have an appointment with your family. You have an appointment with your friends. Why do we not say that we have an appointment and scheduled if it's not a doctor's appointment, if it's not a scheduled appointment like for work or something?
Wow.
So true.
That is loud. That is
so
true. But yeah. I think that about wraps it up.
I rant at people.
Make an appointment with yourself. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm going to take that definitely. Well, I hope you guys have really enjoyed this podcast today, and it has been a great conversation with you both. And please do subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for our upcoming podcast. And if you have missed our previous podcast, please go back and listen. You're going to get some great nuggets that you're going to take into your life. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
See you guys. Bye, everyone.
We're really glad you joined us today. Check us out on Instagram, Afrodias, and comment on today's podcast post. Don't forget, be phenomenal.